yeah, whatever the title of this video is, to resurface a spark plug seat. So this plug, this was a new head that I pulled out of the junkyard, and this plug was seized right in there. What the old one was, and I had to drill it, and then I cut a little slot in it and peeled the threads out from the inside. But what happened is when the head of the spark plug snapped off, it took a small chunk of the seat where the gasket seals with it. And so the new plug wouldn't seal. There was a little compression leak. You can tell that you pour water on here while it's running, and you can see it bubbling out. So I had to make a tool. So this is the tool. All it is just a chunk of steel that I cut on the lathe with the matching threads for a spark plug. So this one's M14 by 1.25. So I cut those threads on the lathe, and then I just made a little flat section here. And then I took this flare nut. I just had it in the junk box and bored it so that it spins freely, but just barely. There's as little wobble as possible. This is a bit more wallered out than I'd like, but my lathe skills are not ideal. And then all I did was I glued some sandpaper, and it took like 3 shots at this, so I had to glue sandpaper on, and it goes through it really quick. But you thread this on. I used Teflon tape just to keep the dust from going in, and it pulled it out when I pulled the threads out. The Teflon tape pulled all the dust out. And you just thread this in, and then put a drill with there's a 19 mil on it, and just spin the hell out of it, and it recuts the seat. I'm not going to pull this plug because this is a brand new plug. The old plug still wouldn't seal. I needed a new plug with a new crush washer just to get it to seal. But that's how I did it, and it worked. It seems to be holding. I'm going to take it for a good hard ride and heat cycle it and make sure it still holds. But I'm hopeful for now. And that's the technique. You can do this for bikes. There's a special tool you can buy for it. I'm sure there's a tool you can buy for this too. I tried actually soldering a high-speed steel cutter on here instead of the sandpaper, but the cutter geometry I ground onto it was wrong, and it was just diving into the head. I tried it on a scrap piece of aluminum first, obviously, and it was just diving in and grabbing and taking this huge cut out of it. If you could get the geometry right, but I feel like you'd need 2 or 3 cutters on here, and then you'd need to somehow grind them all level, and I just don't have the equipment for that. So this is what I did. It seems to have worked. Hopefully that helps someone.